You're watching CNBC Special with Hina, Malik. Today we'll be talking about International Finance Corporation. Since the past 3 years, IFC's investments and advisory services in Pakistan have increased to a great extent, and that is obviously to promote private sector-led growth. For this discussion today, I have in the studio Rashad Kaldani, who is the Vice President for International Finance Corporation and is visiting Pakistan. Hi, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here.
So, Mr. Kaldani, first of all, I'd like to ask about IFC's investment into the infrastructural projects of Pakistan. What's in the pipeline, what's been done, and what are you looking at in Pakistan's infrastructure development?
Infrastructure is a major focus area for IFC. We were actually involved in the first 5 IPPs that took place in the 90s. And have followed on recently with investments in agro-energy, and recently obtained board approval for a project in the north part of a Hydel project called Laraib. It's the first private hydroelectric project, and we expect that to come on stream in the next couple of years. So we're putting a major focus, a number of other projects in the pipeline that we will support over the next year.
Mm-hmm. And when you talk about housing, that has always remained an issue in Pakistan. When you talk about the housing deficit, how is IFC looking into that, and what are your plans?
Housing is a major area for us worldwide. We've put a lot of focus and have tried to work with the World Bank on an advisory assignment with the government to increase our support. A key factor here is access to long-term debt financing, something that we can provide. And we're going to be working with a number of institutions here to try to develop that market.
Mm-hmm. But when you talk about IFC, it's always, or the objective is to promote private sector-led growth. And when you talk about housing, whenever you look at it to fulfill the gap between demand and supply, the public sector, or rather the government, has to intervene. So if IFC intervenes, how would that be promoted?
Well, we have in a number of countries set up specialized housing finance institutions, and we will continue to seek opportunities to do that, to complement whatever the public sector provides. But we would provide equity financing as well as long-term debt financing in specialized housing finance companies, but also working with banks, providing them long-term debt financing so that they can on-lend for housing finance.
All right, so you've come up with the first, when we first talked about infrastructural investments into Hydel, Laraib has been your first Hydel investment into Pakistan, right?
Yes.
And is there anything else coming up?
Well, we are focusing not just on Hydel, but on wind energy, where we have a couple of mandates to work on wind energy, other renewables. I'm very excited about the potential for solar energy here, and we're talking to a number of partners, potential partners, to
and these are private,
to develop.
These are from the private sector?
These are all
partners?
from the private sector. We have recently financed, made an investment in Creative Energy Resources. We made a $50 million equity investment, and it's a partnership with other investors, including from the Gulf. And they are looking at a series of small hydroelectric projects over the next year or two.
Mm-hmm. So on the other hand, when we come towards Pakistan's image, or rather negative image which the media has portrayed globally, do you think that really has an impact on IFC's investment decisions, or rather approvals?
Well, definitely the stories of the security problems, the political difficulties here do affect foreign direct investors. We are here to step in when others are fearful. We're also here to help mitigate these types of risks. And to give them greater comfort. Of course, we too have to be prudent We have increased our investments in Pakistan from about $125 million 3 years ago to a record of $310 million this past year. A large proportion of that was in short-term trade finance because of the international financial crisis. This year we hope to increase it to $300 to $500 million.
It would go up to
$500 million.
Okay.
Combination of this short-term trade finance, but also a big proportion in infrastructure.
Okay, and let's just start dividing it. $500 million. You've just mentioned most of it would be into trade finance. The rest would be for infrastructure. And out of infrastructure, how much would energy be allocated or given, rather?
Right. Actually, probably be about of the 500, 200 million will be for trade finance. We expect between 150 and 200 million dollars to be mostly in energy, some other infrastructure projects such as ports. So it's about 4 or 5 energy projects we hope to support this fiscal year. Our fiscal year ends in June. 1 or 2 port investments, and we're looking at other energy projects as well, for instance, water.
Okay. So is it your first visit to Pakistan?
No, I've been very frequently, but it has been difficult on occasion. Over the last 2 years, I've made plans to come here and then had to cancel because of the problems to the security. So I've had to attend board meetings, for instance, on the board of PPL by VC instead of being physically here. But I'm very glad that I'm here. One senses the heightened security measures have taken place, and I'm sure that'll bring comfort to investors.
So you're going to go back with this, or after observing the situation, let's say you're going to have a different mindset about Pakistan after this trip.
Well, definitely. I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing. The number of potential attractive opportunities for investors are very large here. You've got a very good labor force here. It's not very deep, so the educational system still needs to be strengthened. There are some macroeconomic issues that have faced the country, but these are being tackled by the government. We're encouraged by the decline in the fiscal deficit, the current account deficit, and we need to, and the increase in reserves. So there are a number of factors, and as you know, S&P just announced an improvement in their rating of the country. So I think all of this will help improve investor sentiment, but this doesn't change overnight.
Outlook on Pakistan, say from the short to the medium term, while looking at all these factors which you've just mentioned?
Well, clearly Pakistan was affected even prior to the international financial crisis because of the political problems. It was then hit like other countries, but perhaps less than others because it's not highly dependent on or affected by the withdrawal of funds. So while growth has dipped, it appears to have stabilized. It expects growth of 3 to 4%, and we expect this to gradually increase.
You just mentioned for foreign investors there are a lot of opportunities in Pakistan. Which sectors do you feel have those opportunities?
Well, again, I think we see a lot of opportunities in the power sector, and we're talking not just to local investors, but foreign investors are very interested. Our partners, many of them come from the Gulf, and so there are partners who are ready to join hands with us. We're looking at, as I mentioned, port investments. There are investors interested in the banking sector. We hope that will continue to improve and provide the funding locally, which is very important for infrastructure investments.
All right. And I'd like